In this video, I'm going to go over multiplying monomials and simplifying them. So, a monomial is one term, such as a variable, a number, or a product of numbers and variables. A few examples of monomials would be -11. -11 is a number and therefore is a monomial. Another one would be the variable y, because y is just a single variable. xy is x times y, which is the product of variables, so that's also a monomial. 2xz cubed would also be a monomial because it's the product of a number and a variable and another variable, but remember, an exponent is just how many times that number is multiplied to itself. So this would really be 2x z z z. Z to the third is z times z times z, which is a product of numbers and variables. A few examples of things that would not be a monomial would be a plus b. This is not a product, it is two separate variables added together. So this is not a monomial. 2r minus s. Again, it's a product, but then you're subtracting something, so that is not just a product of numbers and variables, so that's not a monomial. There are a few different definitions that we can follow to help us simplify monomials. So, the product of powers. It says that for any number a and integers m and m, a to the m times a to the n equals a to the m plus n. For example, if I had x to the third and I multiplied that by x to the sixth, that would be x to the 3 plus 6. And x to the 3 plus 6 would just be x to the 9th. Now let's say I give you 2a squared times 3a to the 5th. And I told you to simplify or multiply that monomial out. What we would do, remember, multiplication is both commutative and associative, so we can rewrite this whole thing. So let's group the numbers and variables together. So we'll move the 3 next to the 2, so it'll be 2 times 3, and then we'll do times a squared times a to the 5th. Simplifying this, let's multiply the 2 and 3 together. So now we're going to have 6 times a squared times a to the 5th. Well, looking at our product of powers, we can simplify this. So 6 times a squared times a to the 5th would be a to the 2 plus 5. And that's going to leave us with 6 times a to the 7th. And that would be our answer when we multiplied that monomial out and simplified it. Another important concept is power of a product, and that says for numbers a and b and integer m, a times b, that whole term to the m equals a to the m times b to the m. So basically we just distributed this m to the a and to the b. So that would be like saying if we had xy to the 6th. We would distribute this 6 in with the y and in with the x. So that would leave us with x to the 6th times y to the 6th. Applying that, if I gave you the monomial 4ab squared, well, distribute the 2 in with the 4, the a, and the b. So that's going to give us 4 squared times a squared times b squared. Let's simplify this now. 4 squared is going to be 4 times 4, which is 16. A squared, b squared. And that would be our monomial multiplied out. One more important rule is the power of a power. That says that for any number a and integers m and n, a to the m to the n, so this term a to the m is getting raised again to the n, is equal to a to the m times n. So what this is saying, if we were to look at this and we had the term x squared to the third, well, what is x squared really? X squared is really x times x. So we have x times x to the third. If we were to write that out, that would be x times x, that's 1 time, times x, that's 2 times, we need to go to 3, which is times x. So we have this term, xx, or x times x, 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Well, how many x's is that really? This is x times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So that's x to the 6th. And if we were to look at that, 2 times 3 is 6. Now let's say we had something like x to the third to the 8th. You are not going to want to write that all out. So that's where the formula comes in handy. We just do x to the 3 times 8. Because it would be x times x times x 8 times. So that would just be x to the 24th. And not only can we do this with only 2 powers, but let's say we had y to the third, that term to the 6th, and that term to the 4th. Let's do the inner terms first. So we're going to have y to the 3 times 6, and all of that to the 4th. So simplified down, that would be y to the 3 times 6 is 18 to the 4th. And now it looks a lot like our formula. We have a single number or variable raised to a power and then raised to another power. So now we just multiply those together. So y to the 18th to the 4th is really y to the 18 times 4, which is y to the 72, or y to the 72nd power. And that would be our answer for this monomial.